The moment the thunder struck, something changed forever. Chief was still laughing, Mary was still smiling, but somewhere far away in the spiritual world, a door had finally opened, and once it is opened, it cannot be closed easily. That night, Chief returned home feeling unusually happy. Everything felt successful. The traditional marriage had been completed, but something was wrong. As he entered his room, the walls looked slightly darker. The air felt heavier. He paused. "What is this feeling?" he muttered. Suddenly, he looked down. His shoes were covered in muddy graveyard soil. He blinked. It disappeared. He shook his head. "Na stress." But deep inside, something had already changed. Far away, inside the graveyard, Mary stood at the center of the land. The dead surrounded her. Some were dancing, some were laughing, some were arranging canopies, chairs, and tables. Everything was set, a full celebration inside the land of the dead. Mary raised her hand slowly. "The first payment has been received." The spirits responded in one loud echo. "It has begun." She smiled, but this smile was no longer human. Anyachi sat under her tree, holding the mirror tightly. Suddenly, the mirror began to shake violently. "Mama," she called out. The old white witch appeared, but her face was tired, serious. "You saw it, didn't you?" she said. Anyachi nodded quickly. "What is happening? The marriage is done." The old woman closed her eyes slowly. "The bride's price is not a gift." She opened her eyes. "It is a seal." Anyachi's heart skipped. "A seal?" The old woman nodded. 20 years ago, a wrong was done. A girl was destroyed. And what you are saying now is the payment. That same night, Chief could not rest. As he slept, whispers filled his ears. "You paid. You paid." He woke up suddenly, sweating, breathing heavily. He looked at his hands. Small black marks had appeared on his skin. He panicked. "What is happening to me?" Later that night, Mary entered his room. No sound, no door movement. She simply appeared. She sat beside him quietly. Chief relaxed immediately. "My love," he said softly. She placed her hand on his chest. "You are tired." Chief nodded slowly, but her touch was cold, too cold. She leaned closer. "You have started your journey now." Chief frowned. "What journey?" She smiled gently. "The journey you cannot return from." That night, Chief fell into a deep sleep. He found himself in darkness again, but this time he was not alone. He saw them, dead people dressed in wedding clothes, dancing around him. In the middle of it all, Mary stood on a raised grave. She pointed at him and said, "You are now one of us." Suddenly, he saw it again, his body inside a coffin, but this time the coffin was closing. Chief screamed, "No!" He sat up, breathing heavily. Sweat covered his body. He turned slowly and looked at the mirror. His reflection stared back at him, but something was wrong. It moved slightly late, like his soul was no longer complete. He froze, and then the truth began to return. 20 years ago, before he became Chief Uduego, his name was Obieze. He was young, reckless, heartless. One night, he forced himself on a young girl, only 16 years old. Her name was Udodi. Months later, her stomach began to grow. Her parents asked her, "Who is responsible?" With tears in her eyes, she said, "Obieze." They took her to his house, but Obieze denied everything. "I don't know her," he shouted. Her parents were heartbroken. Out of shame and pain, they sent her away. "Go and find who is responsible," they told her. Udodi left and began to live in the bush, alone, pregnant, suffering. At that same time, Obieze wanted quick wealth. He went to a black wizard. The wizard told him, "I will make you rich beyond your imagination, but you must bring a pregnant woman." Obieze agreed. Back at home, he sat and thought deeply. Then, suddenly, he remembered Udodi. He searched for her everywhere, but could not find her. He returned to the black wizard, who told him exactly where to find her. That night, Obieze entered the bush. After a long search, he found her, weak, dirty, suffering. He ran to her and pretended to cry. "I am sorry, please forgive me. You cannot stay here. Come with me. I will take care of you. I will pay your bride's price." Udodi looked at him with pain. "I don't trust you," she said, and placed a curse on him. "You will never have peace." But Obieze continued to beg. He cried, he pleaded, until finally she agreed to follow him. At his house, he prepared food for her. She ate, and moments later, she lost control of herself. That same night, Obieze carried her and took her to the Black Wizard. The ritual was performed and Udodi died. The wizard told him, "Go home. In 3 days, you will be rich beyond imagination." Obieze laughed. "Nobody saw us. Nobody will suspect anything. In 3 days, I will be the richest man in this community." But after 3 days, nothing happened. Obieze returned angrily. The Black Wizard shook his head. "The sacrifice was rejected because she cursed you before she died, and the ancestors sealed it." That night, Udodi's spirit began to appear to him, carrying a newborn baby, crying, "Pay my bride's price. You promised me." She kept appearing, disturbing him, tormenting him. People began to notice his strange behavior. Obieze ran back to the Black Wizard for help. The wizard told him to bring something that belonged to her. He managed to get her clothes. The wizard used it and chained her spirit forever. "You are free," the wizard said. "She will never disturb you again unless you pay her bride's price. If you do, she will return with force and she can never be chained again." Obieze laughed. "She is dead. That can never happen." Months passed. Her family searched for her, but never found her. Years later, Obieze married, but his wife died during childbirth, and the baby died too. Since then, his life became full of struggle until he met the old woman and became Chief Uduego. But now, the past he buried has returned. In the graveyard, Miri stood quietly and smiled. "Udodi never died," she said softly. "I only changed my face." Oga Cash was still kneeling inside the Ezemo shrine, his body trembling as he searched for answers. "Please, show me what to do," he begged. A deep voice echoed through the shrine and told him that what was happening to him had a source and that he had not lost his wealth, it had been redirected. The voice revealed that the man he calls Chief was the center of everything. Oga Cash became shocked and afraid and quickly asked for a solution. The voice told him that the only way to break it was for a woman to touch the bead on Chief's waist. Oga Cash listened carefully as the voice added that he must fight this battle silently. The shrine became quiet again, and Oga Cash slowly stood up and left, his mind filled with fear and confusion. That same night, Chief was asleep in his room. As he turned slightly on the bed, the bead tied around his waist became visible. Miri sat quietly staring at the bead with deep focus. She slowly stretched out her hand trying to touch it, but suddenly paused and pulled back. Her face changed and she said in a low voice, "It can't work. I am not human." Her expression became filled with anger as she added, "Obieze, finally you have paid my bride price." The next day, Miri visited Anyachi in her compound and they both sat under the tree. Anyachi looked at her calmly and said, "I'm sorry I didn't attend your traditional marriage. Something came up." Miri smiled softly and replied, "I knew you wouldn't come, but it's okay. I'm not angry." After a brief silence, Miri looked at her and said, "I want you to do something for me." Anyachi observed her carefully and asked, "What is it?" Miri leaned slightly forward and said, "There's a bead on my husband's waist. I want you to cut it." Anyachi stared in shock and said, "You must be joking, right?" Miri shook her head and said, "No, I'm not." Anyachi frowned and replied, "But you are his wife. You can easily remove it yourself. Why me?" Miri's face became serious as she said quietly, "You will not understand. Please do it." She paused and added in a low voice, "It is also for your own good." Anyachi stared at her again, this time more suspicious and confused, then said softly, "I will get back to you."
Udodi never die. I only change my face.